Welcome to Smash Fiction Presents Hard Choices. Hard Choices. The podcast where we rank the fuckability of characters from a popular, from a fictional universe. I don't want to limit ourselves to what we do in the future. Fair. And discover what lies at the throbbing heart of horniness. We will find out the median, the zenith, and the nadir of fuckability, but really this podcast is about the people we banged along the way. On today's episode, it is time to determine the horny One Ring to rule them all, because it is Lord of the Rings. I am your host, Miles Schneiderman, and joining me on this ride are Kit Mulkerin.
Where am I? I've been walking for so long and I kind of forgot why am I here.
MeganBob.
We're going to give the word elf friend a new meaning tonight.
Yeah, we are.
I wish I could say that in Elvish, but I'm not cool enough.
What is the Elvish word for boner, Bob?
Now we get into whether we mean Quenya or Cinderin, and that's God. A whole goddamn thing.
Yeah, and finally, Katrina Ehrnman-Newton.
Well, speaking of looking good, the kindly West is looking real good tonight.
Okay, so you might be wondering, what the hell is happening, and why? And why am I listening to it? That's actually on you, that last part. As for why we're recording this, it started with a tweet from MeganBob, innocently asking the internet, who is the median of fuckability in The Lord of the Rings? And I think Bob knew the kind of can of worms that they were opening. You got lots of responses from me, from various other people, from Kit. We went into it a little bit, and ultimately we decided that the only way to get to the bottom of this question once and for all was the only way any of us know how to do anything anymore. Which was by recording a podcast episode, obviously. This is how this show is going to work. We agreed upon a list of 21 notable characters from the Lord of the Rings trilogy, and also from The Hobbit in a less direct sense. Sorry, friends of the Valar, they just aren't here. We are going to also be referencing the Peter Jackson films because they are very well known. I think they are touchstones for most of us in one way or another, and for many people, they are like the image of the characters from the movie is what you think about when you think about these characters. Each of us has ranked these 21 characters from number 1 to number 21, from most fuckable to least fuckable. We are going to go around and determine the median character and talk about that. And then each of us is going to go from the median down to the nadir and then up to the zenith. And we will be going around the horn talking about all of these characters, some in more depth than others, but we will cover, I think, if not everything, then at least a reasonable facsimile of everything, considering we don't want this to be a 5-hour-long podcast.
We don't want it to be as long as Lord of the fucking Rings.
And we sure don't want it to be as long as those frickin' Hobbit movies.
All right, so now it's important to note before we get into this, and I want to make this really clear. When we talk about fuckability, we are not talking about hotness. We are not talking about marriage material. We are talking about... MeganBob, what are we talking about?
All right, so we're talking about fuckability, and fuckability to me is broadly how enjoyable, interesting, or compelling we think a sexual encounter with that character would be. It doesn't even have to be good. It just has to be something that draws us, like horny moth to a flame. And I also want to say it is not even our necessarily attraction to that character. It is if somebody walked in, no matter what they looked like, but had that sexual vibe going, how interesting we would find that.
Oh, I got bad news, Bob. As someone who doesn't know very much about Lord of the Rings, that is not my approach.
That's all right. We are here for this take as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the baseline of fuckability that Bob sort of laid down, and we all kind of approached it, I think, in our own ways. This is going to be very personal episode. Very like, we are going to aggregate the list at the end to like see what happens when we combine everything. But I think we have to keep in mind that all of this is going to be just very individual.
Yes.
We all looked into the seeing stone of our own strange hearts and have brought forth for you a list.
That's right. That's right. Speaking of that individuality and that sort of personalization, I thought it'd be useful before we begin to just kind of go around and break down where everybody is in terms of their Lord of the Rings fandom. So, so we can get a baseline of where we're coming from. And Kit, do you want to start with that?
Yeah, as I've stated, not from the unfamiliar one on this episode. When I was in high school, I really tried to read the first book, but I kept falling asleep. I tried very hard. I'm sorry. And because of my experience with that, I didn't really go out of my way to see the movies, the Peter Jackson films, because it's such a big cultural thing, right? I've seen many pieces of all the movies, but I don't think I ever sat down and watched any of them start to finish.
They are an unspoiled mind.
That's right. Bob, what about you, your Lord of the Rings familiarity?
They came out whenever I was in high school. The first two films did. And then because I had a teacher, and this tells you about how I feel about Lord of the Rings, who was the best, it was our summer reading was to read all three Lord of the Rings books. So I read Return of the King before I saw Return of the King, the film. And I don't cry a lot, especially whenever I watch media. Cried 3 times during Return of the King and still often do.
Always. Every time. I cry every time.
Oh man, the Ultimate West. I have a lot of emotions about that and read a lot of fanfic. So I'll be quiet about it now because I could keep going.
All right, Katrina?
So I am organizing my 5th Tolkien Reading Day event at a public library. My 2nd virtual Tolkien reading event.
Wow.
Last year, for those of you who do not know, which I presume is many, March 25th is Tolkien Reading Day. And it's a great day to read some Tolkien, and the Tolkien Society picks a theme each year. This year's theme is hope and courage. So I am very excited. One of my first cosplays was Frodo Baggins. I made a waistcoat. So I read the Silmarillion for the 3rd time in January. I'm one of those people.
Awesome.
My dad tried to get me to read the Lord of the Rings trilogy for the first time when I was 11, and I couldn't do it. I read The Hobbit and loved it when I was 11. In 7th grade, I was assigned it in school and I love it. And then, oh my gosh, so many words, so many names.
Yeah.
I had to go back to it later in high school. And I did. And I had a friend who was deeply into the films. So I love it. I go back to it. I have an annotated Hobbit with big illustrations that I love. And I keep in my daughter's room so she can see dragons. It's very fun.
Nice.
All right, Miles, what about you?
Yeah.
So I, like Katrina, read The Hobbit as a kid and loved it and was a big fan. And my dad was really into Lord of the Rings, and I tried to read it and didn't want to keep going because not so much because there were so many characters and names and stuff, just because I don't know how many times you need to describe the mountains.
Oh, Miles.
It's just
fair.
There's just so much prose that I feel like could have been cut out, and I had a problem with that. It was either late middle school or early high school that I finally did make it through Fellowship. And after I made it through Fellowship, I was like, okay, well, that's enough of that. Yeah. But then the movies came out, and I fucking love the movies. I got really, really into the films. It was one of those things, I think, Lord of the Rings, I was just really a general fantasy kid, and being able to see a fantasy story put on screen with that kind of production to the extent that really you hadn't, to that point, it was legend, and
I mean, for whatever Ridley Scott was smoking, yes.
I mean, the shitty D&D movie, you know what I mean? There wasn't, but Lord of the Rings was holy shit, it's a fantasy story, beautifully translated to the screen. And then the Hobbit movies came out, and those were an abomination against God.
So mad. So mad.
I do want to say, though, that Peter Jackson walked, so that way the MCU could run. I just want to put that out there.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
All right. Didn't think about it that way.
I'm coming at this mostly from a movie perspective, but I did read the first book, so you cannot tell me that my upcoming opinions about Tom Bombadil do not have the basis in having read about Tom fucking Bombadil.
Okay.
So that's where we're coming from. We recognize that all of you listening to this might also be coming to this from different places. So let's just quickly go through the characters that we're going to be using for this exercise. The 21 characters that made the cut. There were some characters that did not make the cut. Did not make it out of the Mines of Moria, so to speak. We're going to quickly run through some honorable mentions. Characters that were discussed, but tossed out for various reasons. Starting with...
Sauron. We wanted to talk about him. Likes to watch. That's kind of all there is to be said about Sauron. But, R.I.P.
We also have Denethor. I had some interest in a discussion about eating tomatoes.
Yes.
Really, that was going to be the entire discussion.
It's worth taking a second and thinking about it, though.
Yes.
Yeah. Likewise, Treebeard. I mean, Treebeard's great, but not hasty, which is good. But also pretty much a tree, so let's move on.
Lurtz, a Peter Jackson creation. What a butt. What a butt. I have a lot of positive orc feelings, and I think that orcs have a rich, interesting culture and are probably great lovers, but that's a podcast for another day.
Oh my god, it still kills me that we're not doing Haldir. I love Haldir. He's my beautiful elf boy.
Yeah.
And had he been included on this list, he would have been pretty high on mine. But
Yeah.
I recognize that most people don't know or care who Haldir is, so we're going to leave him be. And you know what? It's okay. He doesn't have to embarrass everybody else that he would have beaten out. And beaten off.
True.
Nicely put. The Witch King of Angmar, which I presume is not here because disembodied spirit in a suit of armor?
Yeah.
That was not an immediate disqualifier for me, but I can see why it would be for others.
And I see that they have given me Shelob.
We thought you might have thoughts.
Do you have any thoughts on Spider fucking Kit before we disqualify Sheila from the list?
Hey, audience, have you tried all the kinks? Are you ready for something new? Don't do it! Don't do it! I know you're tempted. Don't do it.
Some part of me was like, it is 2021. I mean, come on.
I know monster fucking is a thing, but it's just a giant spider, y'all. Like, there's no titties or nothing on this one.
All right, so with that in mind, thank you. We have honored all 6 of those would-be entrants on this list. But here are the characters that we are actually going to be talking about. Number 1, Frodo Baggins. He is the hero of the Lord of the Rings series. He is the hobbit who carries the ring. Number 2, Samwise Gamgee, his faithful friend / servant. Very much more a servant in the books than he is in the movies. Mm-hmm. In the movies, he's more of a friend. But yeah, Sam's great. Number 3, Meriadoc Brandybuck, aka Merry. He is another one of the hobbits, the less sad sack one. Number 4, Peregrine Took. He is the 4th hobbit and the most sad sacky of them, except for maybe Frodo. We'll talk about that later. Number 5, we have Aragorn, aka Strider, aka the King of Gondor, aka the hero of the series, aside from what Frodo's doing. Number 6, we have Legolas. He is the elf who has the bow. That's his thing. Number 7, Gimli. He's the dwarf, and you have his axe, as we all know from the internet. Number 8 is Boromir. He's the guy played by Sean Bean in the movie who dies at the end of the first one because he's a bit of a dick. Number 9, his brother Faramir. Faramir shows up later. He is Boromir's younger brother, and he is a bit sadder and a bit more haunted than our friend Boromir. Number 10, we have Gandalf. Y'all know Gandalf.
Yeah.
Gandalf famously should have beaten Dumbledore in episode 4 of the podcast Smash Fiction, which you might listen to. Gandalf, we were robbed. Just totally robbed in that episode. Gandalf is a wizard, also maybe an angel at Lord of the Rings.
Angel is good. Angel is good.
He's the good wizard who dies and comes back as Gandalf the White. He's great. We all love Gandalf. Number 11, Bilbo Baggins. my understanding is that we were using Bilbo as he appears in, like, the first part of the Fellowship of the Ring, right?
Yes.
Like, not Hobbit Bilbo, but also not post-giving up the ring, old and wasted away Bilbo. Like,
Yes.
old but youthful, sustained by magic Bilbo Baggins. Number 12, Arwen. Arwen is an elf princess. She's played by Liv Tyler in the movies and has way more to do than the books ever gave her. She is Aragorn's love interest. Number 13, we have Éowyn, who is the shield maiden of Rohan, who is briefly Aragorn's love interest before getting together with Faramir. And she is the one who kills the Witch King of Nazgul because she is no man. 14, we have Éomer, who is her brother. Again, another guy from Rohan. He rides horses and is serious. Number 15, Theoden, who is like their uncle or something. Theoden is the king of Rohan, and he got a lot going on with that guy. Number 16 is Wormtongue, Grima Wormtongue, who is Theoden's advisor and also like the guy manipulating him and secretly working for Saruman. He's a slimy piece of shit.
Yep.
Number 17, we have Saruman, who is the evil wizard that Gandalf opposes after he finds out he's evil, which is way too late. 18, Elrond. He is the master of Rivendell. He is one of the big-time elves. Number 19, Galadriel. She is the oldest, most ancient, most powerful elf in the series, as far as I'm aware. Number 20, we have Gollum / Smeagol. I think we can talk about each of them kind of as one. They are one person, just, twisted up inside and outside significantly. And then finally, number 21, we have our wildcard character, the one character on this list who is not in the films, and that is Tom Bombadil. Mainly he's here so Bob and I could argue about him,
Yeah.
but he's kind of a god who shows up really early in the Fellowship of the Ring novel. The hobbits run into him and his wife, who's super hot, and he's just kind of walking around doing nature god things, because that's who he is. Let's talk more about Tom Bombadil later.
Yeah.
So those are the 21 characters that we are going into.
And with those characters firmly in mind. Let's reveal our median on the boner scale. So who is your number 11? Miles, who's your number 11?
My number 11 is Elrond. Rivendell sounds like a nice place to fuck.
Okay.
But I just feel like you would probably be maybe the third most important thing on his mind in any given moment.
Fair.
And also he can read your mind, and I just don't know if that's a thing I want from a sexual partner. He's the lowest possible one who the sex would definitely be decent, but I just don't think it would be any more than that in most instances.
Okay. Kit, who's your number 11?
Mary.
Okay.
Oh, all right. I'm not wild about it, but it's a cute twinkin.
Yeah, I can see that.
All the hobbits would probably at the very least give good head.
Right? Yeah.
Okay.
They know how to eat, right?
Oh, damn.
What about second breakfast?
11sies.
That's it.
Tea,
man.
luncheon.
Oh, man.
Damn. All right, Katrina, how about your 11sies?
Éowyn. I admire and am drawn to the martial, awesome energy, but I am tragically heterosexual. I look at this list and I realize what a bummer it is I'm not more into other folks with bodies like mine, because they're awesome, but the boner is not there.
Girl, I feel you. My boner is not there for anyone on my 14 and below on this
Oh,
list.
dang.
I did my best to because I'm also sadly incurably heterosexual. But I did my best to project what if this person were a woman, would I maybe be into that? But definitely it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. I think some characters ended up higher and lower specifically for that reason.
Oh, yeah. I get that. And my 11 is Gandalf.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
He's got a gleam in his eyes that says, "Oh, I fuck." And it's that freaky Maiar shit. And I'm like, okay. Next up, we are going to keep on moving down the list and go to number 12. All right, Katrina, what's your number 12?
Galadriel.
Oh, interesting.
It's not fair of me, but a little bit of why you brought up Elrond, I definitely think the Lady of Lothlorien is concerned with other things than me, and also a little scary, which is not an energy I'm super into.
All right. Kit, what's your number 12?
Pippin.
Okay.
Though honestly, I feel like if I knew the characters better, I could have switched Pippin for Mary. I don't know.
Oh, wow.
Pippin's got a dope-ass name. Peregrine.
Peregrine.
Like,
That's a good
get a
name.
bird name. You said he was a sad sack? I kind of have a weakness for little sad sacks.
Have you heard him sing? The voice.
He does sing beautifully.
Oh, then that would probably move him up. You know, get out of here, Mary. Boom.
All right, Miles, what about you?
My number 12 is Frodo.
Okay.
This is going to be one of my big feels.
Okay.
Ooh.
So, and I didn't write anything down. I need to talk about Frodo for a second because
Just share what's in your heart.
I was so conflicted about where to put him because Elijah Wood has a very specific kind of hotness to him.
Yeah.
What I have written down here about Frodo is haunted and vulnerable, but not in a good way. Because a lot of this I can get behind the idea of like, oh, you're with somebody who's got like such inner pain inside them, and maybe you can, help them feel really good for a minute, or like release something, or maybe you'll have that kind of connection. Like, I'm very into people who have that, but with Frodo, it's like it's not like an inner conflict thing. Like this is what he dealt with as a child. It's just because he's been carrying the ring for too long, and I just think he's a little bit broken. I don't know. I don't know if he would do a good job. Here's the thing about Frodo. He fucking peters out at the end.
Yeah.
Like, we know this about him. He can't get the job done. He fucking falls,
shit.
he falls down to the finish line.
You think he's going to fucking tag in Sam Gamgee to finish it?
I think he might. Like, and he just might run off crying and like, help Sam. Please, can you please help Sam?
I feel like there is an important distinction between carrying the one ring to Mount Doom to banging down. Maybe like your mileage may vary, but that's not usually my understanding of most sexual encounters are not to carry literally the most cursed object in a universe to a volcano and throw it in.
Maybe I have specific needs.
Maybe
maybe I'm a challenge.
Maybe you are more of a Mount Doom than I gave you credit for.
Oh, don't get him started on Doom.
Oh, jeez. All right. My number 12, Faramir. Gentle sad boy maybe can fix. All right. 13, Miles. What you got for 13?
For 13, I have Arwen.
Okay.
And I just think she's very hot. Like, Liv Tyler is a good-looking woman, and she's very good-looking in that movie, but she's a little passive. I don't know how much she actually knows about fucking. I suspect she's inexperienced, and I'm just not... It's not all the way down the list, but it's on the lower side.
I'll teach her.
Yeah, okay, Kit, who's your number 13?
It's Sam.
Okay. All right.
The Hobbits kind of fell in the middle for me.
Sure.
I'm going to actually go now because my 13 is also Sam.
Oh, interesting.
It's maybe the one place we align.
I'm so
Now-
surprised by this.
Okay, big feels time.
Okay.
Okay.
So there is a list where Sam is at the top, but I don't think Sam is innately good at sex. I think Sam is awkward as fuck, and I think it is cute, but it's still gonna be such a fucking struggle to have any kind of quality sex. And I do think there are characters that underneath their awkwardness, it's like you've just unleashed the horny monster. I don't think that's what's in Sam. I think Sam is a romance monster. And I think that if you unleash him, what you are going to get is like a lot of foot massages and rose petals, which is awesome. And I think that the sex would have like eventually be maybe the best sex. But okay, in Fuck, Marry, Kill, he is Mary.
Yeah.
He is not fuck. And so
I mean, that's true. That's a good point.
That is well put.
but he probably smells like a garden, and I want to fuck him, but also yeah, so that's me and Sam. All right, Katrina, what's your number 13?
So my 13 is Elrond. There's just like somber elf energy I'm not into. Like,
Yeah.
I admire the hospitality of Rivendell, the last homely house. I feel like Miles, I would like to fuck there, but I don't think I want to fuck Elrond there or anywhere ever. Just, thank you, no.
He's got dad energy, not daddy energy.
Succinctly put.
Harsh. All right. What's your 14? You know what, Katrina? What's your 14?
Tom Bombadil.
Okay.
Tom Bombadil confuses me, and might be an angel, might be working for Olmo. Dropped a little Valar for my friends.
Ooh.
I am confused. I'm real confused, and that is not good for me for sexy feelings. The confusion quickly blocks out the boner for me. It's like, nope, I'm too apprehensive here. Like, you've got yellow boots. Are you going to turn into a sunflower? Are you just going to bounce off to heaven? I don't know what your deal is, but we are not doing this.
All right, Miles, what's your number 14?
My number 14 is Pippin.
Okay.
He tries his best. Like, I think he would just really, I think he would try. And for some people, maybe that's enough.
Oh, shit, Miles. Jesus. All right, Kit, you're number 14?
So this is where it starts to be like, nah, from here on out.
Let's do it.
Gimli. I'm sorry. He's really fun. I am very much not into giant beards. It's not you, bearded men. It's me. It's too masculine. I don't like certain masculinity things, and beards are a big part of them.
My 14 is Aomer. I think serviceable, smells like a barn, which I am into, but that's kind of all that's there for me. I just don't imagine we're going to get a lot of finesse. I think he probably cares more about his horses than he does about how good he is at sex. And that's very appealing on one level, but not on many others. Number 15. Kit, who's your 15?
Bombadil.
Yeah.
All right.
Basically same reason as Gimli.
Okay, fair enough. All right, Miles, who's yours?
My 15 is Bilbo.
Oh, all right.
And it's not because I don't like Bilbo. I love Bilbo. The Hobbit was my introduction to everything. I think he's great. I just think, I just think there's a reason he's always single. Like, there just has to be a reason, and especially in the time when he's carrying the ring, I feel like his mind is going to be elsewhere.
Okay.
I feel like he's easily distracted. I feel like he's not the most, like, honest or, integrity, like, laden person.
You want weird things out of fucking.
Look, judge me all you want.
No, I love you. You're right.
We are here to judge Bilbo Baggins, and I judge him at number 15.
All right.
Fair enough. Okay, Katrina, who's your 15?
Arwen. She's very pretty.
Yeah.
I am less compelled by her than her somber dad.
You want to trade bearded dudes and hot elf ladies, or hot ladies in general?
Yeah.
Let's do that.
Work out an exchange. Everybody would be happy.
I shouldn't have shit on Miles. My 15 is Pippin, but in my defense, I want to say that a 15 for me, I'm still like, I'm not in the no category yet. Like, we're not even at my bottom.
I wasn't in the no category with Pippin. I just said he would just do his best and probably fail.
I think fuckable, but you're not going back for second breakfast. Like, you kind of had it and you're kind of done.
That's fair.
What's your number 16, Katrina?
Gimli.
Okay.
I like a bearded guy, but that dude's just a bit much. A lot of hair, a lot of clanking, a lot of shouting. And I'm just not sure he would be into me for other reasons. And I would, like I have a certain level of vanity. And I'm going to go ahead and call in a big feels here because I feel Gimli Legolas. I like that a lot. And so it's like, I don't belong in this situation. Like, there's a good situation and it doesn't involve me. Like, blessings unto you. I'm just gonna peace out because I like what you have and I don't want any part of it.
I feel you. I have read some of that fanfic very recently. It's very good.
I liked it. It was fun. I like that vibe. Like, I like an odd couple. It's fun.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Oh, God.
I'm going to jump in here because Gimli is also my 16.
Oh, yeah?
Slightly different reasons. The dude tends to make everything a contest. And I just don't think so. It should be a contest.
That could be fun, though.
Yeah.
I guess it could be. The other thing about Gimli, of course, is that his famous line, we dwarves are natural sprinters, very dangerous over short distances. I feel like it's okay for like 30 seconds and then he's done.
Oh, harsh. All right. Kit, number 16.
Worm tongue.
Ooh.
I guess. He looks like Snape with a disease. I'm like, you could be my type, but something's wrong and I don't want to catch whatever you have.
Oh, you don't. You do not, friend. You do not.
Oh,
but
man.
Wormtongue is such an interesting name. No, I can't.
Oh man, I feel like this is going to be the one where it starts to become clear who I am.
Okay.
Aragorn is my number 16.
Wow. Wow.
Oh my goodness gracious.
Okay, I want to say he's thinking about someone else the whole time, but it's still pretty good. It's still pretty good. But he ain't thinking about you. And so
I don't care.
you're like, you think about whatever it fucking takes, baby. Don't
We
need to
can
be
use
me.
each other. I don't care.
True, this is not married. This is fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, so with that bombshell, move quickly along to number 17. Who's your number 17, Miles?
My number 17 is Legolas.
Oh my god!
The two of you, I can't.
Do you think that guy even knows he's having sex?
Miles, Legolas
Yeah.
is my 17 also.
Is he really?
Yes!
Wowzer.
That's amazing because I completely disagree with you about Aragorn, but I'm right there with you about on Legolas. I just like Legolas. You would be fucking him, and he'd be like, a low moan rises from your throat. Below the earth, the orcs mobilize for conquest.
Oh yeah, they mobilize him.
Do you have to read signs and portents into everything? Like, I understand the people who are into like him and Gimli, but honestly, I see him as asexual. Like, I just can't imagine him being interested enough in another person to have sex with him.
My thing was similar. He's untouchably pretty, and that's very hard to even... I'm like, I want to paint you. I want to write an ode to you. I don't really want to touch you with my body. I just want to, like, touch you with words and music.
I see freshly fallen snow and I just want to go, pop.
Yeah. I
want to touch it.
think I'm with Kit on this. Like, oh, that's some fresh snow. I'm going to throw my entire body on it.
Well, all right. Who is your 17, Katrina?
Saruman.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
And I would fuck Christopher Lee's voice alone.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
like, but it's attached to a real evil wizard here. Like, I'm glad you're in that giant tower, so I know to stay away. Is how I feel about Saruman.
Kit, you're number 17.
So the thing I am even less attracted to than beards are people who are old enough to be my parent or grandparent. That's my hard line.
Okay.
It's Gandalf.
Fair.
Oh,
Okay. All right.
I'm sure he's a very nice peepums. I don't want to be in bed with him.
That's a good line. That's a good rule.
Okay. You've just established that, Kit. I'm going to pick on you again. Who do you want to be in bed with less than Peepums? Who's your number 18?
Oh, Saruman. Because he evil peepums. That sucks.
Yeah. Also, just as old.
Oh my god. All right. Katrina, who's your number 18?
So, in a little bit of a turn, Eomer.
Oh,
Okay.
oh shit.
I straight up forget him sometimes.
Oh, wow.
I like his sister so much more than him. It's like,
Yeah.
sorry, horse dude.
yeah.
I just forget you. Like, when I read the books, I like you, but the rest of the time, I forget you. Sorry.
Miles, who's your number 18?
My number 18 is Tom fucking Bombadil.
Oh, really? Okay, you know what? I'm willing to accept it because he ain't 21. All right, tell me why you do this to Tom.
We've talked a lot about the problems with some of these, like, these older immortal beings being that they might not care, they might be thinking about someone else, they might have their thoughts elsewhere, like they're kind of, above sex to a certain extent. Tom Bombadil will forget who you are, like, while you're still fucking him. He literally just like walks down the riverbank and he's like, I don't fucking remember anything. I'm just gonna name the trees and shit. Like, he's just a fucking random little demigod that hangs out. This is becoming one of my big feels. I didn't intend it to be, but it is now. Like, he's just like, what is he? What does he do? Tom Bombadil seems to be like as a deity to a further extent than pretty much anybody on this list. I think he is like the most beyond the mortal sphere, and he just cares about, you know, like hanging out with his old buddy the river. They go way back, you know what I mean? So like, how the fuck is he supposed to care about having sex with somebody? To fucking Tom is just, he's useless. I have no use for Tom Bombadil in any sense, narratively speaking or sexually speaking.
Fair enough. I put Old Bilbo as my number 18. Although I do want to say, I bet he can still go. Just saying that.
I bet he can still go. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, number 19. Katrina, who's your 19?
Sticking with the theme, Theoden. The worst horse dude that I forget sometimes.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. Kit, who's your number 19?
You know, I put old Bilbo down here.
All right.
Under Saruman. Saruman at least looks like
It's still
like
Christopher Lee.
Distinguished Peepums.
Yeah.
Maybe evil Peepums is still somehow a little bit more attractive than just Bilbo. I'm sorry, Bilbo. I'm sorry. I don't want your breakfast.
All right, Miles, who'd you put down for number 19?
Number 19, I have Gollum.
Wow. Are
you saying wow because he's high for you, or wow because he's not the bottom?
Yes, he's not the bottom.
Oh.
Okay. So, yeah, Gollum, I mean, look. He's slimy and weird, I get it.
Yes.
But there's a chance when you fuck Gollum that you're gonna get, like, try hard, like, really wants to make you happy Gollum.
Okay.
I think he wants to make him happy.
I mean, I think he wants to make you happy. You could get the one that's trying to sabotage everything and, like, wants to make sure nobody has any fun. Who knows? He's kind of slimy either way. I do think he has possibly some redeeming qualities, so he's not the last one, but he's still pretty low.
Mm-hmm.
I went with Arwen.
Oh.
Okay.
She's thinking about someone else the whole time. It's not good, and she doesn't notice when you leave.
Oh.
All right, now we're getting into the dregs.
Mm-hmm.
20. Who is your 20, Kit?
The Peepums I never met. I don't care about. Theoden? Who's he? Theoden? How do you pronounce his Peepum's name? Theoden.
There are a lot of Peepums on this list. You're right.
Uh-huh. It's like Bob made the list. Bob. I'm calling you out.
I almost spit water everywhere. Thank you.
Yeah, Bob collaborated on this list with Liz, which is why they're all old men with beards. Can I jump in just because I also have Theoden at 20?
Okay, yeah.
Oh, please.
So Theoden, I thought about putting him ahead of Gollum, but ultimately I didn't. I just, I like Gollum more. Whoa. I'm sorry. Theoden's a piece of shit. Mm-hmm. He sucks.
What?
He is just like the worst fucking person. I hate him. He is not really attractive. He's not really a good person. He's not really a nice person. I don't see any reason why anybody would want to share a bed with him for any amount of time.
Welp.
Sorry, Bob.
To be revisited at a later point. All right, Katrina, how about your number 20?
Gollum Schmeagol. 6 teeth. Still too many teeth for the odds that I'm getting bitten at some point. And
Ooh, you make a good point.
Yeah, like, that's somebody's kink. It ain't mine. No biting, thank you.
I put Frodo for number 20.
Wowzers.
Wow.
Don't fuck a guy you're worried is going to fade away into an insubstantial mist of wistful sadness mid-fuck.
I mean, yeah.
You shouldn't be sad mid-fuck.
You never know with him.
All right, number 21, the bottom of the list, the last person you want to bang, Miles, who's your 21?
Grima fucking Wormtongue.
Say it loud. Okay. I am with you on this one.
Fuck that guy. Far too moist. Just for anything.
Becomes pre-lubricated. Yeah, probably.
Like, just there would be too much licking. Too much scheming. He's a slimy, weird incel, and I am not into it.
Yeah. He is also my 21. And my short blurb was the actual fucking worst. Gross.
Yeah. The only thing I had for notes actually was ew.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, Kit, who'd you put as number 21?
Gollum. He seems like the worst kind of bottom.
I can't
and
believe
when he's not a bottom, he's gonna do some non-consensual biting or something.
Yep, called
terrible.
He is at the bottom of my list for the exact same reason.
I'm not opposed to biting. I am opposed to like practically eating.
Yeah.
So now that we have bottomed out, now that we've reached the dregs, we've said a lot of negative things, a lot of hurtful things about some people. It's time to now go back up from the middle and talk about the ones that we really do want to fuck. So let's start with Bob, who is your number 10.
No. Oh, no.
Oh?
Okay. No, it's Worm Tongue.
What?
Look, I read a fanfic and there was a draft of this list where he was number 1, so just shut up, okay?
Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Okay, probably gonna have to come back to that later, but
Yeah, I gotta know what's in this fanfic to make you feel this way.
Kit, who's your number 10?
All right, this is the top of the hobbits for me. Frodo, though, I mean, what you sort of like taught me about the other hobbits, maybe he should go a little lower. And the more cute side hobbits should go higher. I don't know. I'm not opposed to a sad.
Right.
He's not unattractive. He's got longish dark hair.
those eyes.
I like emo music. I can identify with sad.
My number 10 is Gandalf.
Same.
Oh, yeah? Nice. All right. I have written down that he tries to seem impressive. He doesn't pick up on clues very well. Like, so if you're trying to give him, like, subtle hints, he wouldn't be able to understand what you were doing. And I also have written down here, you know he could do a better job if he would just take this shit seriously.
I think there's a similar something between our rankings, because in the books, he spends a lot of time just going to try to, like, buck people up who are struggling. And I feel like I could run into Gandalf and Gandalf would give me a better day. And I am into that.
Aww.
So,
Yeah. All right. Let's go to number 9. Kit, who's your 9?
Boromir.
Oh my god, I am also.
Yeah? Oh.
Yeah.
He seems like he might be dad aged in comparison. I don't know. I don't have strong feelings. If he's not dad aged, it's just like, yeah, well, all right.
I gotta say, I'm not into Boromir especially, but I am into a guy that is clearly trying to fuck away his demons. That is very fucking interesting to me.
You're selling me here.
Katrina, what's your 9?
So my number 9 is Frodo.
Okay. Highest ranking for Frodo.
And my note is, in a lot of ways, I'm really into Elijah Woods' face. Also, there's something about, like, encountering somebody who's having a tragedy and maybe being a different moment in that story. Like, I could see that being a really interesting moment.
Okay.
Again, this is fuck not marry. I'm not really here to, like, sail into gray ships into the west, but I am interested.
All right. I can roll with that.
All right. My number 9 is Saruman.
Oh, yeah.
Hear me out.
Oh,
All right.
You got me.
So, he's a wizard, first of all. I think of all the people here, Saruman would have the most, like, toys.
Oh, yeah.
He's always inventing shit, and he's got, like, the Palantir, and he's, like, you know, inventing these new processes for, like, making orcs and shit. I think he would just have a lot of devices. And I'm sorry, Christopher Lee goes a long fucking way for me. He just does.
Yeah.
Christopher Lee goes a long way. So with that in mind, Katrina, who is your number 8?
It's Mary.
Okay.
I have a quote from the book, and I'll just say it's like, great heart will not be denied.
Oh.
I'm just going to get my big feels out here. So, Mary.
Do it.
Oh,
Mary and Pippin both have entdrats in the book, which means they are tall for hobbits. And they both ride to war at some point, and Mary accompanies Éowyn to slay the Witch King of Angmar. He's a bamf among hobbits. He became known as Meriadoc the Great, and went on to be Thane, and I'm just into it. I like him a lot. And it's like, yes to you, Mary. Yes to breakfast, second breakfast, and 11sies.
Yeah.
A lot of this also applies for Pippin, but we'll get there.
I'm going to get my number 8 out of the way real quick. It's Éomer. I have him here at number 8.
Same.
Oh, nice. Okay. He's just a big, like, rippling chunk of muscle that I know for a fact will get the job done. I don't think there's anything going on between his ears, but I do know that he rides a lot of horses. He has very powerful thighs, and I just think he would do good. I think he's a solid pick.
Oh,
Kit?
man.
He looks like Guy Fieri's younger brother who's in a metal band nobody knows about. That's about it. I'm like, all right. You got long hair. I don't really know anything else about you.
There you go.
I don't need to know anything else about you.
He's very pullable. Bob, who's your number 8?
It's Elrond.
Yeah.
Stern elf man he's going to crack the faintest smile while undressing you, and you are going to fucking melt.
I'm just going to start with number 7 because going off of what Katrina was saying, my number 7 is Mary, actually.
Okay.
I agree with everything you said. I think that he's kind of got like all the benefits of like the hobbitness and none of the drawbacks that some of the others display. Like he's super enthusiastic, but he's not an idiot. He's really earnest, but he can also be funny. I think he'd be a really great partner. I would like to be friends with Mary, and I'd like to, have sex with people I'm friends with.
I too have that in my vibe.
Oh, Bob, give us your 7, please.
Saruman.
Wowzers!
Higher than me.
Okay. I didn't expect it, but whenever I sat down to make my list and I thought about that monomaniacal energy focused on just me, and I was like, okay, that's not nothing. Number 7. So, yeah, he's an evil peepums, but like, what a powerful evil peepums. How focused.
Lots of toys.
Yeah, right?
I think maybe you just have a higher threshold for like proximity to danger than I do.
Yeah, wait till we do a Disney Villains episode of this.
Oh, boy.
Katrina, number 7?
Pippin!
Wow, all right. Higher than Mary, damn.
I know, I think you might be the only one who gave him higher than Mary.
I for sure am, and it's that singing voice. I've got a thing about voices. If I like to listen to your voice, I am more likely to want to have sex with you. Pippin makes jokes. Pippin can sing. Pippin has cute, fun hair. I am into it.
You're winning me over.
Hobbits are good.
Peregrine. It's a good bird.
Yeah.
Peregrine.
Also, another one of the hobbits that gets taller. It's nice.
All right, Kit, who's your number 7?
So I kind of consider my 6 and 7 together because they're a couple. Éowyn and Faramir wind up together, right?
Yes,
That's
they do.
true.
I might consider being the unicorn for this couple.
Oh. You're not wrong, though. You're not wrong.
Yeah.
Which one was 6 and which was 7?
I put Faramir at 6.
Okay, Faramir's a 6.
Yeah. Just because I like dark hair more than blonde hair.
That's interesting because I have Boromir at 6. Like, Boromir is kind of a dick sometimes, but he's, like, super passionate into what he's into. And I just think he's really reliable to be fully invested.
I also have Faramir at 6.
Okay.
Like, wise, handsome, and has the good sense to marry Éowyn. It's like, yep.
Yeah. So I'll see them at the next, like, I don't know. Is it a key party?
A council.
I'll scoop the keys.
All right. Bob, who's your 6?
Mary.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the guy who cracks jokes during sex, but in a fun way, not in an annoying
love
way,
it.
which is
Like me.
delightful. Yeah, see, when Kid does it, it's great. When Pippin does it, I'm less into it, but I do like Pippin. But yeah, more mileage for Mary, I feel like.
All right, we're getting into the top 5 here. Kit, who is your number 5?
Elrond. This is where it's just gonna be elf time.
Yeah.
The way I feel about beards is like opposite with elves. I like tall, I like high cheekbones, like thin eyes, long facial structure. Yeah. Like the elf type. I don't really care. They don't think about me during sex, whatever. They're so pretty. Elrond seems like, yeah, you're right, Bob. He's the CEO. Hey, that's why he's like near the bottom. I'm like, all right, dad energy. At least you're pretty. Tear down your hair. Do the sexy librarian thing, Elrond. Do it with your hair. That's fine.
All right, Bob, who's 5 for you?
Tom Bombadil.
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, big feels. He is utterly unlike anyone else. I have to know. Like, someone unreadable is deeply appealing to me, and I just cannot put him any lower because I can't actually rate his fuckability. I mean, clearly Goldberry is into it, and Goldberry probably has had a lot of offers.
True.
Is she into it, though?
Probably. I bet like Old Man Willow put in a bid for Goldberry and was like, oh, hey, baby. And Goldberry's like, man, this Tom Bombadil, though. So I feel like whatever his deal is, it's probably pretty good. And even if it was bad, I don't care because I would just be so fucking relieved to have an answer to this mystery. I just need to know. And nobody has written fanfic about it. And I'm too lazy to write the fanfic about it. And so I have to put him at 5 so I can find out somehow. I don't know how this is going to translate into me finding out, but I'm hoping I can leverage it.
That's so interesting because, like, I don't feel that need to, like, confront the unknown. If it's, like, unknown, I'm like, well, it's probably for a reason.
I feel like there's a light into the heart of Bob, like, deeply compelled by something unknown. That's a lot of curiosity.
I gotta fuck the unfuckable. It's just so important to me to know.
Katrina, who's your number 5?
Speaking of elf time, it's Legolas.
Okay.
Yeah.
So pretty. So pretty. And teenage Katrina had a big old thing for Orlando Bloom.
I too can blame you.
A little tangent. Him in the hat in Pirates of the Caribbean. I love that look. I don't even care. I just want it.
Like, I would fuck his Pirates of the Caribbean character.
Just hats. Like, honestly, like the hair, the eyes, the ears, the walking across snow like magical creature. Oh, Legolas, I like it.
All right. My number 5 is Faramir.
Ooh.
He's a wounded soft boy. He's got a lot of pain to work through, and I just have this feeling like you'll have sex with him and he'll just be awed by you. You know what I mean? Which honestly is, I'm into that. And
yeah,
I just like, I want to be that person who like makes him believe in himself and in love again. You know what I mean? Like that's, and plus he's really hot in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. David Wenham is fucking gorgeous.
Yes. All right. Number 4, Bob.
Galadriel.
I have her here too.
Please step on me, madam. Please step on me.
She deserves the spot. Yeah. I think she's Chris's number 1.
I will be a human carpet for this powerful elf lady.
I generally have the elves and like the ancient beings lower, just because of all the things we've talked about before. Galadriel is an exception. I just think whatever it would be a fucking experience. And where I think that like a lot of the elves would kind of like have a tendency to not be thinking about other shit. With Galadriel, I feel like if you were able to get her attention long enough to fuck her, all of a sudden she's focused on you. And I don't know if I'm going to remember that evening, but I'm going to. It's going to be fantastic. I feel like it's going to be like so much pleasure it's almost painful. That's how I feel about Galadriel.
Yes, agree.
Katrina, you want to do your 4?
My number 4 is Boromir. This is probably a little bit of just a temperament thing. I think Sean Bean is a dish.
Oh.
Yeah.
I love his arc. I love how he fails and recognizes his failure and tries to make up for it. He has a great death, and I'm just into him. He feels more accessible to me than Faramir, because Faramir gets it right, Boromir gets it wrong.
Interesting.
Yes to you, son of Gondor.
Yes, imperfection.
I feel that. All right, Kit, who's number 4 for you?
Arwen. I agree. I think she'll be kind of cold, but she's stunning.
Yeah.
And that's enough sometimes.
When you're Arwen, yeah, I can see it.
All right, Katrina, let's come back to you with number 3.
So, in sticking with relatable and earthy, my number 3 is Sam Wise Gamgee.
Fuck yeah.
Yes, I have got a real thing for gardeners, gardens, and friendship and bravery. And, like, I just love Sam so much.
Bob, who's number 3 for you?
Theoden.
Oh.
Number 3?
I know.
Wow.
I know. Okay, so a bit of Robert Redford and Horse Whisperer. So, like, gentle but thorough, but with a little bit of Daddy with a capital D vibes. Just a little bit.
Okay. Kit, who's number 3 for you?
Galadriel for every positive thing y'all said about her. I mean, yeah, and then they had to pick Kate Blanchett, right?
Yeah.
That's it later. Yeah, like perfect casting.
Yeah.
Spirit me away, beautiful fae. I'll give you my name, whatever.
I have Eowyn at number 3. Eowyn, I always had liked it. She was definitely my crush from the movies, rather than any other of the other women in the films.
The other two?
The other two. Similar to Eomer, she's got that horse rider thing going on. She's super hot. She's probably more interested in, like, fighting than she is in sex at any given time. And she's probably not, like, super experienced, but she has a secret caring side. I'm not saying I like the fact that in the book she's like, oh, I'm in love with Faramir now. I will give up my warrior ways forever and become a fucking healer or something. I don't love that from a narrative standpoint, but from, like, a sexual standpoint, it's like, yeah, I could totally get into somebody who has this underlying core of, like, goodness and humanism with the ability to, like, fight for it if it's threatened. Like, I will just take that. Honestly, I'm talking about her and I'm starting to think 3 is low.
Yeah. Eowyn's great.
It's number 2. Bob, who's your 2?
My 2 is Eowyn. And
okay.
I put it for a much simpler reason, and that was, that's a woman who knows how to wield a strap-on. Like, I cannot imagine for 1 second that Eowyn doesn't fuck better than, like, almost every dude on this fucking list. And that's how I feel about Eowyn.
She probably tops Faramir, and he likes it.
Kit, who's your number 2?
Yeah, it's a small beard, but it's a beard because I just am so attracted to, like, Aragorn. He seems so competent. I love competence. He has long hair, long dark hair, so he seems like he could take care of me. You know?
Absolutely, in more ways than one.
Aragorn's gonna do you right.
No.
Katrina, who's your number 2?
So, this might be one of my more surprising entries. This is Old Bilbo. And
Really? I am here for this, and I support you 1,000%. I'm so proud and happy.
so here's my blurb for it. Smells like pipe tobacco, and for sure has cake and tea in the kitchen. And I want this roll in the hay like I have never wanted a roll in the hay. Like,
oh my god.
That's okay.
Like, the sensory experience of Bag End and Bilbo Baggins is something I did not realize how much I wanted. Yes, I want this. So.
Oh my god, I feel like I've made a terrible mistake.
Sometimes hobbits are overlooked. And
that's true.
But not by me.
Oh shit. God, I gotta go think about my choices.
Speaking of hobbits, my number 2 is Sam.
Woo!
Oh yeah?
I had to drop him to 2. I'll explain why in a minute. But first, look, I get that we're doing fuck not marry. I get it. Here's the thing. Most of the time, I want a fuck person I would want to marry. Like, if they have the traits that I would look for in a life partner, they probably have the traits I'm looking for in a sexual partner. So, with that in mind, Sam is fucking awesome. He is all about you. He wants to make you happy. And more than that, though, he fucking believes in you.
Yeah.
I love that, like, kind of homey style he has where it's like, very down to earth. It feels so comfortable. It feels like it would just be the most non-intimidating sex, the most easily enterable sex. No pun very much intended. The only thing about him, I don't think there's a very high chance that things go wrong in sex with Sam. But if they do, I don't think he lets it go. I think that he's like, no, we can do it. Let's try again. And you're just like, dude, maybe we should just not. Maybe tomorrow. Like, it's not going to happen right now. But he's like, no, come on. We can. Don't give up in the it's like the old stories, Mr. Frodo.
Oh my god.
So, like, he's got a bit of that clinginess that I feel like you might just it's not even 1 and 2, it's 1A and 1B, but he gets to drag down just a tiny bit because of that.
Mm-hmm. All right.
With that in mind, my number 1 is Aragorn.
Same.
Oh.
I wanted to put Sam at number 1. I wanted to be that good of a person. I'm sorry, this motherfucker is the king. Like, you want to talk about some decadent whining and dining?
Oh.
Like, you're gonna be like, it's gonna be a hell of an experience getting together with Aragorn. I also feel like Aragorn, like, Sam believes in you, and I love that about him. Aragorn brings out the best in you. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I love the distinction that some people make when they talk about, I've talked a lot about, like, the hope punk genre versus the noble bright genre, and I get that, like, Sam is the hope punk character and Aragorn is the noble right character where it's like, oh, all we have to do is put the right person on the throne and everything's fine. And I don't believe in that. But in the context of the narrative, he's just the best guy. Mm-hmm. Like, he's just the best one. He is inspiring. And unlike Sam, he is realistic in the face of failure. But if there's a chance to succeed, he'll jump on it. Mm-hmm. If he thinks there might be a chance to get things back on track, he'll take that opportunity. He will dive into the breach with his ghost army.
Yep.
Oh, it's that kind of sex. You brought a ghost army. You didn't ask me about the ghost orgy. You gotta let me know in advance.
Aragorn comes through. If you need it done, Aragorn gets it done. And I feel like if you meet Ranger's gonna get it done. Like, Strider is awesome and saves the day. Aragorn is a healer in addition to being the true king and a warrior and awesome. And, like, my blurb is, I get why you would forsake immortality for this one.
Right.
Oh.
Yes. He's adaptable.
He's adaptable, doesn't give up, doesn't forsake his friends, accepts losses when they occur, and finds a way to keep going after what's important. Aragorn number 1.
All right, Kit.
I feel like the most basic bitch. I got it. But he doesn't have a beard and he's an elf. Legolas!
Legolas is great.
Yeah, he's probably the character I am most familiar with too because he was so popular.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of great scenes with him. I got to see him in the second Hobbit movie, even though I don't recall him being in the books.
He was not. You don't. You don't recall that correctly.
But he's so perfect. I really want to see his hair down and dirty.
Okay, I can roll. I can get that.
Yeah.
All right, Bob. Who's your number 1? This is it.
Gimli.
Aww.
Okay, big feels. I want to say I don't think this is unique to Gimli. I think all dwarves fuck like they mean it, and with an intensity and attention to craftsmanship that is going to melt your brain. Also, dwarves into all kinds of mechanization and tool making. There is no way that dwarven sex toys aren't just a thing that everybody has an entire cabinet of. And I want to say, friend of the show and friend of my heart, David Waters, put it this way. The question isn't whether or not you'll enjoy it. It is when will you be able to reintegrate into society afterwards.
Wow.
And
wow.
I don't know if I can handle it, but I fucking want to find out if I can handle it.
All right.
All right. The headcanon.
Well, there we have it. We have run down everybody's list from 11 to 21 and then back up to number 1.
And now, with those lists presented, we turn to, let's unpack that. This is where we get to choose an answer on somebody else's list and get to ask some probing questions about why. So, Miles, I ranked Pippin lower than you did, but I want to say that's different. He's mine, and I can do that. How dare you put him at 14? Please explain yourself, sir. You said he tries, and I think he's probably great. I just don't want to hear jokes. I want to hear good jokes, and I think Mary's jokes are going to be better.
Can I tell you something? I moved him up by a few spots earlier today before we started recording.
Ooh. Gasp!
I think he was below Legolas.
Jesus.
Or below Legolas and Gimli. I was thinking more about the whole Hobbit experience, and I kind of like that a little bit. But yeah, he just, okay, Katrina made the point about his singing voice. I agree. He has a lovely singing voice. We're probably not going to be hearing his singing voice. We're going to be hearing his speaking voice. And frankly, I don't care for it. I have a hard time respecting him. He's kind of dumb.
Oh, wow.
I know that I ranked Éomer at 9 or 10, and he's also kind of dumb, but I just feel like he's dumb in a more meathead way, whereas Pippin is dumb in a more bumbling way. I don't know. Okay. I definitely feel like his portrayal in the movie is coloring my opinion of him a little bit. I think his sort of comedy sidekick nature is beefed up a little bit in the film.
They amplify his immaturity. He's definitely he's the youngest of the 4 hobbits we get to know the best, and they definitely play that up in the film that he's kind of green as grass.
But also somehow looks middle-aged is the other thing. In terms of pure attractiveness of the people playing them, I think he's clearly number 4 of the hobbits. So that's the other thing. I'm sorry, I don't.
All first place at the same time.
Is it Billy Boyd? Is
Billy
his name?
Boyd.
I think,
Billy Boyd.
Yeah, and I'm sure he's a very nice person. I understand he didn't do much acting after this, or maybe hasn't done much acting at all, something like that. I think I read, but yeah, just not my thing. He's too immature.
All right, who's next up for Let's Unpack That?
I feel like I shouldn't go back after Bob, because we should try to do this more of a circular thing.
I suspect I'm probably on a lot of people's lists because of my choices.
We have so many questions.
Bob.
Yeah, I have to. Bob, you'll forgive me. I have to come back at you a little bit.
Yes.
And it's not even just for me. It's for all of us.
Is this an intervention?
Oh, yeah.
Because Aragorn is ranked for us, respectively, at 1, 1, 2, and 16?
The confusion.
I get that you think he's already got a love interest, but, a lot of these people have love interests, Bob. Why is he so low?
It's not even that. I think I just resent a guy that's effortlessly hot, and I'm just I don't want to deal with your hotness is upsetting to me, and I don't fucking need it in my life.
Jeez, I want to be resentfully hot.
So sexy, it makes other people mad at me. Wow.
I just go, I can't with that. I bet he's great, and I would hate it. I would hate every second of it, because I would be like, and you're good at fucking get the fuck out of here, you piece of shit. I know, that doesn't come from a rational place, but I think that very little of my list comes from a rational place.
All right, who wants to go next?
I do have a related question.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about one of your lows. I have a question about one of your highs.
Mm-hmm.
What is it about Theoden? What compels you about Theoden? Because I get so mad at him when I read the book, when I watch the movies. I'm so frustrated with that guy.
Okay.
It's a complete boner kill for me, so I'm just curious about what is singing your song.
Yeah, similarly, we have him ranked at 20, 20, 19, and 3.
Okay, this is not gonna get me out of trouble, I don't think. But this morning, I almost changed his place with Wormtongue.
Wow.
And almost put Wormtongue at 3 and Theoden at 10.
Wow, sorry.
Because those were the two that I know. Kit is making a face like, what is wrong? How do I know you? How are you a person in my life? You okay there, Kit?
I'm great.
Theoden is high for me, I think, because I just remember Bernard Hill in a doublet, like looking sadly at a grave, and I guess that does things to me. I wish I knew.
Frodo's sadness, but it doesn't do it for you. What is your sadness hotness spectrum?
I don't know. We're going to have to do like 50 of these before I understand what motivates me.
Next time somebody asks you what your sexuality is, will you please tell them old man crying in a grave?
Yeah, that's it. I found it.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
Is that okay? How did you meet Neil? It wasn't in a graveyard by chance.
Well, he posted a really compelling picture in an online profile of him grieving. No.
Oh yeah, Griefsnet.
Grief fishing, they call it.
All right, kid. You're the only one left.
I'm sorry, Bob.
I knew what I was doing when I made my list. I understand this.
You put Aragorn and Legolas at 16 and 17, and Wormtongue at 10. What is this Wormtongue fanfic?
Almost put him at 3, apparently.
Yeah.
So I went to AO3, and there was a fanfic. It's him being a conniving piece of shit, but it is Eowyn being a pursuing, aggressive, like, fuck you, I'm going to ruin your life first. And, like, it's the two of them being mean to each other, but there's spilled ink, and they're fucking, and because he's a piece of shit, what he does is he writes his name on her thighs in ink. You can't scrub off that ink. And so, like, he's going, I have done this to you. And she's like, fuck you. And then she's pissed off at him and he's pissed off at her. And it's just like, it's really lovely and amazing. And I love it. I am into a super pissy grudge match fuck. That just sounds fucking compelling to me. I need to know. I need to know. I don't even care if it's not good. I just need to know.
I'm gonna name this this phenomena, and I'm gonna name it the Bob Bombadil phenomena, which is an insatiable lust for the unknowable and probably unwise.
I like that.
I don't think you're wrong. I'm very proud of myself for still being alive at age 36.
I'm so glad we didn't put Shelob on the list.
And then you would have had to explain yourself.
Yeah, still over certain bottom people, for sure.
Let's unpack this turned into a little bit of Let's Unpack Bob. But, while we've been having all this fun, I have been compiling the aggregate list between all 4 of our lists combined and averaged. Gollum's 15, Wormtongue's 14, Theoden's 13, Tom Bombadil and Bilbo are 12, Frodo, Arwen, and Saruman are 11, Gandalf, Pippin, Éomer are 10, Gimli's 9, Legolas is 8, Elrond is 7, Merry is 6, Samwise Gamgee comes in at number 5, Faramir's 4, Boromir is 3.
Ooh, Jesus.
Wow.
There's a tie at number 2 between Galadriel and Éowyn.
All right.
And despite Bob's best efforts, Aragorn takes the number 1 spot. Okay, so the median between all of us is that number 10 spot. The median between us is Gandalf, Pippin, or Éomer. There's a 3-way tie there for the median in the aggregate list, so...
Okay. I can live with that.
Yeah, and of those options, Gandalf, highest and lowest, is separated by 7, Pippin, highest and lowest, is separated by 8, and Éomer, highest and lowest, is separated by 10. So I think that means that the official median is Gandalf. Because we are the closest together on him.
All right.
So there you go. That is the answer to the question. Which, hilariously, that shit came up on Twitter. Like, Gandalf was a strong contender for the median fuckability of Lord of the
Maybe
Rings.
there's a stronger intuitive sense of the median than we had previously supposed.
Look, I think we all kind of knew in our hearts what it was going to be.
Good peepums.
That's right, good peepums.
Good peepums. What do we think the fuckability rating for the Lord of the Rings universe overall is? Out of 10 boners, how fuckable is this universe? Katrina, do you have a sense of how many boners out of 10 you would give Lord of the Rings as a universe?
I've got to give this probably a strong 9. Strong 9 out of 10 boners for me. Like, there's fabulously beautiful but hard to touch elf people. There's magnificent human beings. There's also the worst of human beings. And then there's hobbits who are just like some of my very favorite parts of humanity condensed into a small package with great hair. I would roll in the hay with Middle-earth any day of the week. I'm into it.
I'm going to say 8, just because the only reason I'm going a step below is because of a concern that I have about Lord of the Rings in general. Not all good people are hot, and not all bad people are ugly.
Yes.
And I think that I would find a bit more general fuckability in a universe where that is not the case. However, that said, there's so many hot people.
So many.
So I'm still giving it an 8.
I think it's probably a 9 for me, because there's so many juicy beards and all these, like, I'm not exclusively into peepums, but like peepums are there's never enough good peepums that you get in media, and so
fall for the opposite.
I guess I'm coming out here in the pro peepums camp, and also there's a lot of inadvisable people to fuck, and I guess that's a thing for me now. So there we go. All right, Kit, how many boners?
So there's a lot of beards and a lot of peepums and not enough women. But
Yeah,
That's true.
there are elves. So 7.
All right.
Fair.
that's legit. And so, reflecting back upon this journey that we took into understanding one another, and I think in many ways, understanding ourselves, what do you think you learned here today?
I learned a lot about you, Bob.
I think I learned that I'm more into like charity cases than I thought I was.
Oh no!
You know, like
Yeah.
I do kind of like the idea of being there to heal those wounds, and also I'm just slightly maybe a little bit more superficial than I thought I was, because I'm sorry, Sam. I'm sorry for betraying you.
Oh, you like what you like.
I feel like Katrina has changed my heart about old Bilbo in a way that, like, he's the peepums I left on the table and I feel like a fool.
I feel like what I learned is that I have very specific sensory cues that trigger sexy feelings for me.
Nice. Yeah, that makes sense.
And in the Lord of the Rings universe, those are mostly aligned with good folks, which is nice. But probably there's a universe out there where I am into some less good folks. I'll say very gently. But it was really fun to go to, and it was so fun to hear about, like, to get a hint of something shining in the darkness about other people's things that trigger their sexy feelings. Like, there's just a bunch of gems in those minds, and it's really exciting.
All right. Well, that's about it for this. Thank you all so much for being here and doing this. Bob, thank you for being so horny.
On Maine, no less.
On Maine, we had to come here and do this and discuss the fuckability of Lord of the Rings characters. Had a great time. I suppose for anyone listening to this who doesn't know other shit that we do, we should talk about that.
Plugs.
So Bob and I are the hosts of the Next Wrestling Fan podcast, which you should go check out if you're interested in wrestling and or learning how to watch wrestling because you're not interested in wrestling. And so I'm also part of the Unspoiled Podcast Network, the Odyssey Storytelling Podcast, write for Looper now, which is fun. I do stuff for Yes Magazine. I do a lot of stuff. I have lots of shit online. You can go and find it. It's all under my name, Miles Schneiderman, so I'm not difficult to find.
I write a podcast called Garden Plots with Skeletor, in which Skeletor attempts to host a gardening podcast, defeat that meddling He-Man, and gain the power of Grayskull. And also, it's about the friends we made along the way. Yeah, Kit is our Riley, who is the long-suffering sound editor, not sound minion, on Garden Plots, and Dan Mulkerin is our Skeletor.
So I've retired from the podcast life mostly because of grad school and having a baby. But I will happily plug Chris's fabulous podcast, the MeganBob, which has another season coming soon and currently is doing really fun bonus material for patrons with our friend of the podcast, Claire. Fuck, Marry, Slay, an assessment of the 13 clans of the Camarilla in Vampire the Masquerade. And it's fabulous, and you should definitely check it out. Also, go to your public library.
That's right.
Public library loves you and needs you. Have fun. Read books and stuff.
You should definitely listen to Fuck, Marry, Slay if you want to hear Chris mispronounce words.
Yes, that's fun too.
So, yeah. All right. Well, that's where you can find all of us. If you're listening to this, then you obviously listen to Smash Fiction, or at least have the Smash Fiction subscription, or just the Smash Fiction feed up on your podcast app for whatever reason. If you're not already in the Smash Fiction fan faction, come join us there. It is a lot of fun. And we don't know how often this is a thing we're going to do. It's kind of going to be a thing that happens as it will. Much like, some of the most entertaining and memorable sexual encounters. It just happens sometimes. So keep an eye out on this feed for future projects that might drop in here occasionally when you least expect it. Probably having to do with fucking. And until the next one, thank you so much for listening, and have a wonderful day. And please, if you have any of your own Lord of the Rings fuckability rankings to share with us, you can do that on the social medias. Bob, thanks again for putting this all together. Mm-hmm. Thank you all. Thanks to Katrina for coming out of podcast retirement briefly to do this with us.
Well, I graduated, and now the baby's a toddler, so I can do some other things now.
Well, there you go.
Hell yeah.
There you go. And thanks to Kit for coming on and being part of this show, despite the fact that they neither know a ton nor care a ton about Lord of the Rings.
I care more. This show does that to you.
Hard Choices is produced by MeganBob and Miles Schneiderman. Our theme music for this episode was Long Road Ahead by Kevin MacLeod, which is licensed under Creative Commons, as are his songs Light Sting, Der Kleber Sting, Hero Theme, and In the West. You can find these and more of his music at incompetech.filmmusic.io. The Smash Fiction logo was designed by Claire Mulkerin. Special thanks to all our listeners and supporters, and if you want to hang out with us, look for the Smash Fiction Fan Faction group on Facebook, and be sure to track down our various projects and online media. Thank you so much.
There's a lot of inadvisable people to fuck, and I guess that's a thing for me now. So there we go.
Yeah, now. I kind of always knew.
You're right. I had not looked in the mirror on that front in like 20 years.
Bob's sexuality is basically Lovecraftian in nature.
Lovecraftian and sad people.
Yep.
I tried to look for Cthulhu fanfic and was very disappointed.
Yeah, you're compelled by big feelings, and this doesn't shock me.